Agile, yeah! Welcome back to the Agile Product Owner. Today we're going to continue our discussion about the Scrum theory and the empirical Scrum pillars. In the previous discussion, we talked about transparency, the idea that the work that you're doing, the decisions that you're making need to be visible to all impacted parties, basically. This time, we're going to be talking about inspection. These are really interesting because they're really the core of the continuous improvement iteration cycle that is so key to Scrum software development. So, inspection. The Scrum artifacts and the progress towards agreed goals must be inspected frequently and diligently to detect potentially undesirable variances or problems. When they talk about the Scrum artifacts, they're talking about the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment, the output of the sprint. To help with inspection, Scrum provides cadence in the form of its 5 events. So the 5 Scrum events are the sprint itself, the sprint planning, the daily Scrum, the sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. You know, a lot of working software engineers might not consider the sprint to be an event because it's not a ceremony. The rest of these are ceremonies, but the Scrum Guide considers it to be one of the 5 Scrum events. Inspection enables adaptation. Yeah, so let's stop right there and kind of talk through these last couple of points one at a time. So this is pretty cut and dry, and it's almost kind of weird to talk about because it's exactly what it sounds like. You have to be looking at the work that you're doing and the ways that you're doing it in order to be able to improve upon them through adaptation. The idea here basically is you don't want to make changes just for the sake of making them. You don't want to be iterating without a clear vision for why you're doing it. And the way that you're going to get that vision is through inspection. Inspection of the increment, inspection of the Scrum events, what's working, what isn't, where can we improve, what are we going to do next? These are all elements of inspection. So, inspection enables adaptation. Inspection without adaptation is considered pointless. This is a really good point. And I touched on this in one of my previous videos, but this comes up a lot in the sprint retrospective in particular, because the retrospective is the purest form of inspection. It's the ceremony that is literally about inspecting the previous sprint. And if you go into that ceremony without a clear plan on how you're going to act on the things that are surfaced during it, then it will very much be pointless. It has to be goal-oriented. Like retrospecting without actually making any changes is just like a rant session or a complaint session. So it would be pointless, and your developers will probably point out that, hey, this feels worthless, nothing ever changes, we never act on anything that comes out of this meeting. If you're hearing that kind of stuff, then you know you need to start pairing some actual adaptation with your retrospection. And then finally, they just note Scrum events are designed to provoke change. So as you're going through these events, you're talking every day in the daily Scrum about what you've been doing, what you're going to be doing, any barriers that have come up, etc. During the sprint review, your stakeholders are inspecting the increment and giving you feedback. You're talking in your sprint retrospective about how the previous sprint went and what you want to do going forward. And so, as they note, this is meant to provoke the change that you are going to undertake through adaptation in the next sprint, or maybe even during the current sprint. Something comes up during the daily Scrum and you need to pivot, you need to make an adjustment. That's the work that you're doing in the adaptation. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Next time we'll talk a little bit more about adaptation, and I will talk to you all later.